Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. It's my friends at Yarnspirations.com. It is part 2 of the Desert Dreams Crochet Throw. So originally it was going to be one video, but I decided to separate it into 2 because really most people will do the motif on their own and then they'll get all the motifs done and then they'll be ready for the join. So I decided to do a separate video for that. So what we have here is that there's going to be a very long intro after this because I've already filmed it and intended it for the first video. The sequence of how these things come together as far as joining matters. So make sure you're paying attention to that, and so I'm gonna play that now and then I'll be right back and then we're going to be kicking into full gear and getting this done. One note I want to leave with you now is that when we do the outside border you're going to notice that it's an obtuse angle and a reflex. See these here? It's a reflex to a reflex. So those are just flat spots. So when you get to the flat spots of stuff, when it's a reflex to a reflex, it's just a regular stitch work that is going across. And what I mean by that is that it's matching the exact same stitch counts, but it's actually just keeping a flat spot. So you'll notice that on the obtuse angles here is that we're building the stitches to be taller as it gets closer to the interior, but when it's a flat spot like this you don't have to worry about that so much. So just keep an eye on that as you're continuing along, and we'll be talking about that when we get to that part of the tutorial. So what you're going to notice in this particular pattern here, and that diagram was on the main one here, is that there's only 10 motifs. Now the order in which you see is really key on how this thing goes together. So you're gonna do number 1 and then 2 and 3. What I would recommend to you is do all of the motifs, each one of those, and leave the joining to the very end. So just finish it off at the end of each one of the motifs, and then when you're ready to join then you start. And when you go to start then you're going to start by joining here and then here and then here and then here and then here, here, here. So the order in which you see those here is matters. So it's like going on a carnival ride. For example, you go on the Ferris wheel. In the Ferris wheel is number 7. Well, you have to buy all the tickets in order to get to number 7. So you have to just keep that in order. So here on the sheet I also decided to do a crochet diagram to make it a lot easier for you. So let's talk about that. So on the sheet here is that I provided to you on how things are joining. So this is the one-sided joining method. So when you go to look at this one here, see the different color here, the blue? This is a one-sided joining method. So there, so you're just gonna zip along here and here. And so it only starts on the one join and then it finishes off in the other. And so you just are doing a zigzag single crochet join in order to get all the way to the end, and when you're at the end that's it. So you're only joining from one section to another, and so you have to do that on both sides. So that's page number 1. On page number 2, or the next page, is the second two-sided joining. So you're going to start off on one side and you're gonna zip along, and then you're gonna come down to one side and you're gonna finish. So this is one side, two sides, so it's a two-sided joining. Do you see this here? This is one that already is joined. This has to be here. So you can't just zip along and just start doing two-sided joining if this isn't done. So for example, the two-sided joining would be right here. So it's coming across and then down. But do you see that this is a 3-side join? This 3-side join has to be done before you can do the two-sided, because it has to be connecting over, and that's what this is here. So again, double zigzagging across. The only complicated part right here is in the center, and then you're gonna come all the way down. So finally, moving on to the next page that we have, we've got lots of pages for you today, is that we have a 3-sided join. So it's gonna start here and zip along all the way to the first corner, and you see that these two are already done, so those will already be connected. So you're gonna play with that and connect, and you're gonna keep along, connect again, and then come down here. So the 3-sided join only appears 3 times. So here's a 3-sided. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So as I mentioned, the order of which these appear matter. So you're gonna do your one-sided join, which will then put these 3 together. You're then gonna slide in number 4 and do a 3-sided join. Then you're going to slide in 5 and 6 and do a 2-sided join, and then slide in 7, 3-sided join, and then 8 and 9, 2 sides, and then finally the last one here is a 3-sided join. So you can see, hopefully that makes sense. So once everything has been put together, you're gonna have a border. So there's a diagram for that too. So I did that for you. So all we have to worry about is that the corners here, when you're coming around, this is called the reflex angle because it's reflexing after the after 180 degrees. So it's going around this way. This is an obtuse angle, so it's a reflex or an obtuse. And when you follow it around, you're either doing a reflex in the corner or you're doing an obtuse at the corner. So what we have here is that this is a reflex here. So it's coming around and then see how it's bending up. This is an obtuse corner. So you'll notice that the corner of the stitches will get bigger so that it fills out the space a little bit more, and then it stays pretty tight here. So if it's a reflex angle, it looks like this, and if it's an obtuse angle, in order to get to there you have to build it out there. I also broke the rules on this particular diagram, so let me show you that and bring you in closer. So usually if you're not watching me, I write on the pattern. So what I decided to do is that once I started building this out, I counted and it says 11 single crochets after this corner. So instead of just sitting there with the pencil, is that I wrote the number 11. So there's 11 single crochets. Then there's 11 half double crochets, and then 9 total here, and then 2 in here, and then 9. And then 11 and then 11. So I put those numbers in there to help you not to read as much. So 5 here is a chain and a single. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this the 6, do you see it? It's the same thing. So I put the numbers in there so that you can save yourself some time, and there's only 4 rounds in the final. So my goal today is to take you through making of the motif, also doing the joining of the 1 side, 2 side, and 3 sides. So I'm prepared to do that with you today, and also we will cover the border. So it's a big video today. So now that you watched that really long intro or you skipped ahead, our goal today now is to do the 1-sided join. I'm then going to show you the 2-sided join. Now the 2-sided join and the 3-sided is actually very similar to each other. So the difference is that the 2-sided starts here and just turns and does one corner and then finishes here. On the 3 side you can see that it would be 2-sided as well. So it would go up here and turn and then technically stop if it was a 2-sided, but it continues along for the 3-sided. And remember what I showed you in the video about the sequence of putting things together, that really kind of matters. So what I'm going to do for you, to be completely transparent, is that I'm going to play the same video for number 2 and number 3 for the second and for the 2-sided and the 3-sided. The difference is the 3-sided I will continue on. So that's gonna be just to keep it separate for you. So without further ado, we want to get ourselves started. I've already blocked these, so I just damped them and then I laid it on my counter. And then I kind of pushed everything down and then I dried it. So I have enough examples here to be able to do it. So it actually turned out really quite lovely and I'm really quite excited. I would recommend getting in all your yarn tails before you do this process, but again that's up to you. And then we're going to begin doing the join, starting with the 1-sided method now. So let's begin the 1-sided method. All of the sides that we're going to be joining throughout this whole thing is going to keep with the same hook. So a size K, a 6.5 millimeter hook. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start off this one. So we want to make sure the motifs are facing right side up when we come to do this. We're going to join it to the very corner one, so it's the middle one, and then we're going to just do a standing single crochet and then chain 1 and then a single crochet directly into the one completely opposite, so it's the middle one. We're then going to chain 1 and you're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet here, chain 1, and then single crochet up here. So you'll be skipping 2 stitches. So you notice that they completely match each other like a mirror, one side to the other. The only difference is that you have this chain 1 that expands over. So for tutorial reasons, or sorry, for graph reasons, I've just made this a little bit bigger. So you might have to expand your chain just to be a little bit extra. What you need to keep in mind is that the very last one is skipping over 3. And so you have to chain 2 for that one and then go right into the corner and you'll be ending here. So this is the 1-sided join and let's demonstrate that now. So let's begin. We're going to just pick up the 1 here, so both of the right sides are facing up, so the good side's facing up. Come to the middle one and do a standing single crochet. It doesn't say to do that, it just says single crochet into the middle one, but I would do it as a standing because you're gonna join some new yarn. So you're just gonna pick up through, and when you pull it through, keep the 2 loops and then yarning over, pulling it through 2. Sorry, the oils in my hands pick up on my hooks, just so you know. I can't get that stuff off, it permanently stains. So I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm gonna come to the other one here, and I come from the back side, so just looking for the middle one here and just come from the back, the bottom, and just be consistent. So if you're always gonna do from the bottom, which I recommend, is that just coming around and then you're just gonna pull through a loop through and then pull through 2. So you just single crocheted there. Let this straggler follow. We are gonna have to deal with that later. You're then going to chain 1, and when you go to reach over to this one you want to skip over 2. So 1 and 2 and single crochet the third one, chain 1 and come directly above. So skipping 2, pull through and single crochet there. Then chain 1, skipping 2, and this chaining that you're going to do here, you may have to just put it down and just kind of determine if it's a long enough chain for you. And then chain 1 and then come directly across. So you're skipping 2 and go to the third. Just be consistent. That's all the secret is. So chain 1 and you keep doing this all the way across. It's a nice easy way to do it and you don't have to sew. Most blankets that we design they don't do so well when you have to sew them, but the join as you go method allows you to speed on through. But that's not true in all cases. It depends on the project as well. But in this case it would flow really quite nicely. So just go all the way across and I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm coming close to the end and you notice that I put in red numbers 1 through 9. So these are the gapping spaces so you can count. So right from the corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm gonna be coming right to the very corner one in just a few seconds for now. But before I get there I have to chain 2 because it actually has you skip a total of 3 stitches. So that chain 2 just builds extra space. And then chain 1 and then come directly across. And you were going to go right into the middle one of that one there. Now this is where you would finish off. So you'll just fasten off at this point. And so you will do your one-sided just like this. And so to fasten off I might as well do it here for you. And I'm just gonna fasten off and then I'm gonna use my tapestry needle, and I'd recommend that you do it as you go. It just will be making your life a lot easier. And you're just going to put it onto the tapestry needle and just turn it to the back side and just weave it through just the same color on the outside and go back and forth a total of 3 times, and then you can safely get rid of that tail at the end. So just keep on doing that. And remember the path always has to be slightly different. So you want to do all of your one-sided now because one-sided is only at the very top as we start this. And you're gonna want to hide in your loose end that you started with as well. So I just backed you out a little bit here, and all I want to do is that this is the middle. So this would be a one-sided one here, the other one-sided will be here, and then you can do your 3-sided here then next, and then keep on moving in the sequence. So do all your one-sided now because it's only the 2 beginning, and then we're gonna carry on next to a 2-sided. So let's begin the 2-sided. Now remember what I said in the intro. This one here is what's already existing. So in this case when you look at it, it's already here. It's already joined. So when you go to turn this corner you're going to be using this spacing here that joins everything. So when we come across we're still chaining our 2 to join here. Chain 1 and we're instead of joining up here we're gonna go right into this space to hold it. Chain 1 and then come back into the same space. Chain 1 and then come here. So that's the only thing that we have to watch for. But everything between here and here is exactly identical. The only difference is that you're not finishing off here. You're just gonna continue along. And so we're now going to begin the 2-sided, and the introduction for this as we begin this is going to be the same as the 3-sided, but we will continue that in just a few moments. Let's begin to do that next. So let's begin the 2-sided and 3-sided. So it's whatever part we're in the video right now that is going to be there. So the 2-sided will end here. So we'll just do 2 sides and the 3 sides will continue on. So let's begin, and we're going to start off in the corner just like you had been before. And you're gonna start with the standing single crochet. And then chain 1 and then come directly to the middle one of the other one. And then chain 1. And like before you want to skip 2 and single crochet down, chain 1 and then skipping 2 on this side so that they're basically in line. So chain 1 and you're gonna continue to do this all the way until you get close to where it turns. And then coming back down. So I'll see you when it turns in just a few moments from now. So just come close to the edge here. So I have to chain 2 and I'm going to do the first one down here. So it's going to be skipping 3 and coming to the middle one, and then chain 1. So instead of going into the same one that it's joining, because it's the same one, you're gonna come right around. So just go into the chain work itself. So, or you could go all the way around too. That probably would be okay too. So just go around that stitch, chain 1, and then you're gonna come back into the one that you just left, single crochet, chain 1, and then coming back into the start here where this one is joining. And so that will put you back on track then to maintain. So chain 1, skipping 2 on this one, chain 1, and then skipping 2 on the other one up here. And you're gonna do the same thing that you already know, just whipping all the way across until it turns again. So the 2-sided will end at the end of this side, but the 3-side will continue on for one more just side. So please do this, and I'll see you at the next bend coming up. So I'm coming into the end, and this is chaining 2, and then I'm gonna come right in here. So the 2-sided then will finish here, and then chain 1, and then you'll go directly to the same one above. So this is not here in the 2-sided version. Okay, and then that's where you're going to end, and then you'll fasten off and then weave in your ends. So that would be how you do the 2-sided. So the 3-sided version is here. Again, we're gonna start here nice and empty. So what's gonna happen is that this section here and this section will already be done in order for you to go. So the 2-sided was just this and finished here. The 3-sided is basically doing this again one more time and then coming down the 3rd side. So just keep it in sequence. So what I'm going to do in this particular part of the video is that where I have finished off with the number 2, I'm going to pick you up there and continue then to finish the final 3. So we're gonna restart number 2 once again, and the video then will change at this point for the final side. So let's begin the 2-sided and 3-sided. So it's whatever part we're in the video right now that is going to be there. So the 2-sided will end here. So we'll just do 2 sides, and the 3 sides will continue on. So let's begin, and we're going to start off in the corner just like you had been before. And you're gonna start with the standing single crochet, and then chain 1, and then come directly to the middle one of the other one, and then chain 1, and like before you want to skip 2 and single crochet down, chain 1, and then skipping 2 on this side so that they're basically in line. So chain 1, and you're gonna continue to do this all the way until you get close to where it turns. And then coming back down. So I'll see you when it turns in just a few moments from now. So just come close to the edge here. So I have to chain 2, and I'm going to do the first one down here. So it's going to be skipping 3 and coming to the middle one, and then chain 1. So instead of going into the same one that it's joining, because it's the same one, you're gonna come right around. So just go into the chain work itself. So, or you could go all the way around too. That probably would be okay too. So just go around that stitch, chain 1, and then you're gonna come back into the one that you just left, single crochet, chain 1, and then coming back into the start here where this one is joining. And so that will put you back on track then to maintain. So chain 1, skipping 2 on this one, chain 1, and then skipping 2 on the other one up here. And you're gonna do the same thing that you already know, just whipping all the way across until it turns again. So the 2-sided will end at the end of this side, but the 3-side will continue on for one more just side. So please do this, and I'll see you at the next bend coming up. So moving on to the 3rd side, you're gonna just finish off this here. We're almost at the edge, so you just chain 2, and you're gonna come down to the middle one, and then chain 1. So instead of coming straight up into this one, you're gonna go around this space. Just be consistent on how you did it before, and then chain 1, and then come back into the same space here, or the same stitch, chain 1, and then come into the same one that it's being joined up here, and then you're going to continue then. So chain 1, skipping 2, chain 1, and then come to the top one and skip 2. I know that white's hard to see. I don't know why I choose white for these videos, but you know, all these years later I still haven't learned my lesson. So just skipping 2 and then coming in. So I want you to continue that, and it's already what you know. Just come down to the final edge and I'll see you there in just a moment, and we'll recap and finish off, and then we're gonna be starting a border soon. So I'm coming to the final, it's the end of the third side, and I just have to chain 2 and go right into the corner, and then chain 1 and come right into the corner of the top one here. So then this is where the story ends, and like I showed you on side number 1, you're just gonna fasten off, weave in your ends, and so you're just gonna continue to go in the sequence until you get your entire blanket put together, and I'll be right back in just a moment. So let me fasten this off. So your afghan will be much bigger than this. I have enough of it so that I can actually demonstrate the border. So all the joins will be done in the interior so that you'll have like this exterior. You can add as many of these motifs as you want to. So just because it has this size, you can continually add, because the border makes no difference. So what you're watching for in the border the most is whether the angle is a reflex angle like this, okay, these points, or if it's obtuse. So that the only difference is that when you're following this along, you just have to handle these corners different. So if it's obtuse, we have to fill in the space with with bigger stitches, and then we're going to keep the stitch counts here. So I'm gonna take you to the diagram and decipher that for you in just a second. So when it comes to doing the border, we have to watch some sides. So this is an obtuse angle right here. This is a reflex. See how it's coming across and then turning? That's a reflex. So when it's a reflex coming into an obtuse, we're going to be filling in this spot with higher stitches to round it off more, and when it turns the corner it will turn, and in this case see the ones with the X on it? Those are the ones that is just gonna be a straight shot of single crochets all the way across. You don't have to worry about being in an obtuse angle at all. So what we have here is as it turns the corner, this is a reflex turn, it's gonna come in and do an obtuse and obtuse, 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 obtuse. So what you want to worry about then is just worrying about coming around and doing these obtuse to fill it in. But when there's a reflex and a reflex, this is a flat space. That's just single crochets that are just resting in the top. So hopefully that makes some sense. So let's begin, and we're going to be starting off right here, and we're going to be starting off with the obtuse and then turning into a reflex, and then you're just gonna straight shot it with single crochets and then reflex the turn, and then coming into an obtuse, and then this is another reflex, so this is a flat spot, so single crochets and then obtuse. Okay, we're gonna give this a try. So let's begin on a corner with whatever color you decided to do, and we're gonna start off right in a corner, and you're just going to attach it, chain 1 and single crochet 3 times into that same stitch. And then we're gonna start counting. So this is an obtuse angle, so this is what it looks like in the diagram. So the next 11 in a row will each be a single crochet. So let's count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, and now there's going to be 11 half double crochets in a row. So let's count those out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, 10 and 11, and now there should be 9 single or double crochets left, and if not we just have to fill one in. So just or fill it in or take one out. So we're just gonna count. So 1 double crochet, there should be 9. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it is to the one that is attaching. So this is the 9th one. So if for example the 8th one was this one, just put an extra one in there just to keep the count. So on here there's going to be 2 single or 2 double crochets, so just go into the chain work itself and attach it. So 1, and then just come on the other side of that middle point. Then starting on this side, right where the same one is in, there's gonna be the next 9 is gonna be double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now there's gonna be 11 half double crochets in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And now coming to the end, so we just have 11 single crochets left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I'm looking, so technically this is the middle one, so I'm actually I have an extra stitch. So what I'm going to do is this, if this happens to you, is that I'm going to put it as a 2 together. So pull through and then go into the next one, pull through and then pull through the 2, and that's a 2 together, and then turn your corner as 3 single crochets. Now if you got here and you were missing a stitch, then what I would do is put in 2 double crochets then, or sorry, 2 single crochets before you get to the corner. So now we're on the edge here, and this is a reflex corner, but this is going to be a reflex to a reflex. So there's going to be 30 single crochets that will expand across the top of this. So you can just count those. So just count 30. So 1, 2, 3. This is number 29. So the problem is that the next stitch here is the middle. So I want to throw in an extra stitch there, and I want to leave stuff like this in the video because you can't always be perfect and you can always improvise. So just throw in that extra one so you get your 30, and then do your corner of 3 single crochets. So you have to look where you are. So when you go and look and you lay this back down, you're going to notice is that you're back on the obtuse, and so you can follow the instructions by reversing the video back again, and so you'll have your 11 single crochets, 11 halves, 9 doubles, the 2 in the middle, 9 doubles, 11 halves, and then 11 singles, and then you'll be back at the top. So just follow this all the way around and just watch the ones that are reflex to reflex like this, and then the ones that are obtuse, the ones that you're filling in and putting bigger stitches when the join happens. Please do this all the way around. So I've come all the way around, my count's right, and I'm just going to slip stitch. I am going to get rid of this color yarn. I'm going to switch off with something new, and I want to go to round number 2 for the border, and we have to pay attention to the obtuse and the reflex angles once again. So now to round number 2, we are going to create these spaces that you see. So it's a chain 1 space. So when we start with the very first one, we're going to put 3 single crochets into the middle one. There's going to be 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then you begin the spacing that you have. So it's going to be a chain 1, skip 1, single into the next. You see the number 5, so there's 5 of those in a row. After you get those 5 in a row, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to half double crochet the next 6 in a row for that. Then you're going to chain 1, and there will be 10 in a row with these double crochets that have the chain 1 space, and that will take you to the other side. So you'll be mirroring again. So you'll have 5 of these half double crochets coming in on the other side, and then 6 on this side. So you notice that there's a slight different count on this side. It's just because of the chain 1 space. Now when you get to the other side here on these reflex that you have here, all it is, it's just these single crochets that are coming across. So you start off with the very first one of 1 single crochet, and then you will then go into chain 1 single crochet the next, and you'll do that all the way across when it comes to these ones that are here on the edge that you have, and the obtuse ones here are the ones that will be filling in the space. So let's begin to do this next. This is round number 2. So let's come in, and I'm just gonna start some new colors that we have. It just keeps me interested, to be honest with you. It's more about me than it is you. So I'm gonna come into the corner one, and I'm going to just join it with a standing single crochet. You could just join it chain 1 and then put 3 single crochets, but that's considered 1 already. And this is 2 and 3. So as you begin the side here you're going to put 1 single crochet in the next, and then you're going to start off then of doing the space work. So chain 1, skip 1, and you're gonna do that a total of 5 times. So this is a once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. So remember the chain 1 spaces are there. Then you're going to chain 1, which will count as one of the 6. So chain 1 and the next skip 1, and the next 6 will be like this half double crochet. So this is considered 1, chain 1, and then skipping 1. So this is 2. This is 3. 4, 5, and 6, and then you'll chain 1 after that, and then you'll begin the double crochets. So the double crochets, there's a total of 10 in a row, so skipping the next one, and you'll do 10 with the spacing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then chain 1 and skip the next one. And so in this case it'll be 5 half double crochets in a row with those chain 1s that separate them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then chain 1 after it. And then you have the last 6 that will be the single crochet. So skipping 1, so 1, put those spaces in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then chain 1 after that, and then you're gonna come right into the corner so that the stitch counts are right. So you'll put in 3 single crochets. So when there is an obtuse angle, that's what you're going to do. And this one here is the reflex, so it's turning, but it's turning the corner once you get to the other side, so it's a reflex and a reflex. So if that happens to you, then just chain up 1, sorry, after you get the 3 in there, you're gonna single crochet in the first, and then chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, and you'll do that all the way to the other corner. So it says to count, it gives you the count. I don't think you need to be honest with you. I think because you counted on the last round, hopefully you did, it'll work out, and if you're not sure, just you can count it, and there's a total of 15. So make a decision when you get to the corners whether you're doing a reflex into an obtuse or whether you're reflex to a reflex. So chain 1 after the last one, and then just come into the middle one of the 3. So skipping 1 and put your 3 single crochets. So make the decision whether you're doing an obtuse angle that you had here or whether you're doing the reflex and doing a flat space, and please do this all the way around. Just make sure that you do single crochet the first one after a corner in order to keep the balance no matter which side that you're doing, whether it's obtuse or a reflex. So I'm just coming all the way back around, and you're just going to slip stitch to the first chain or single crochet. So I am going to get rid of this color, and I'm going to move on to the third round, and third round we are going to have a little bit of fun, well, of course. So let's talk about that in a second. So moving on to the third round, we are still concentrating on the reflex sides as well as the obtuse. So this here is the obtuse. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start off, and then each one of these chain 1 spaces is going to get 2 of something. Whether it's 2 single crochets in the same one, you see that there's 6 in a row, and then there's going to be 6 in a row of the half double crochet, 10 in a row of the doubles, 5 of half, and then 6 in the remaining. That takes you all the way to the edge. So we're gonna be doing that. On the sides that are like this, a flat side like this, it's just going to be the single crochets just filling itself in. So we're just going to start off just like you see it, okay, with just single crochet in the first one, and then jump immediately to these chain 2 spaces and just slam in 2 single crochets, and you'll do that all the way to the other side and then turn your corner as normal. So you just have to decide what side you're on, and we're going to begin number 3. Let's start round number 3, just creating a slip knot to start. Kind of gonna come right into the corner piece, and you're going to either do a standing single crochet and then do 2 more, or you can just join it, chain 1 and put 3 single crochets. As long as there's 3 single crochets in a corner, you'll be good to go. So you're going to start immediately and single crochet into the next one, and then you're going to then jump into the chain 1 space over here, and you're just going to put in 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2, and you'll do this 6 times in a row. So that was 1, and you'll come to the next space, put 2 in there, so that's 2, go to the next, 3, next, it's 4, next is 5, and the next one is 6 in a row. Okay, so once you get that done, the next 6 in a row will each be 2 half double crochets in each. So we'll just put 2 in each. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then the next 10 in a row are each 2 double crochets each. So we'll count those out together. So put 2 of each. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we have 7, 8, just want to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have 9. Sorry, I was looking away. 9 and then 10. And then we have 5 in a row with half double crochets. There's 2 in each. So we have 1, and this is 2. It's 3, 4, 5, and there's 5. Okay, and then the next 6 in a row are 2 singles in each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that takes you right to the edge. So before the corner piece, you're just gonna put in a single crochet right here into the first one of the grouping of 3, and then in the corner itself you'll put 3 single crochets. So that was the obtuse angle that we did. You can see it's filling in, and then what we're going to do on the flat side, as I promised, you're just gonna single crochet in the first one, and then just jump to the chain 1 space and put 2 in each. So I'm not gonna count those as I need to because there's no change. It just goes right to the corner. So I think what makes this blanket amazing is the color changing of the dreamy, but you know, you can have a lot of fun with color play too. Now the next round is not dependent on the counts of this round, so if you're off by anything, it won't matter for the final round. The final round is just a slip stitch around in each stitch that is created on this one round. So if you're off and you have to adjust, it doesn't really matter. So you're gonna come into the last space before the corner. You're gonna single crochet into the one just before the corner, and then 3 single crochets to turn. and then you have to determine where you are, whether it's an obtuse angle or a reflex, and just maintain the pattern as you go. So please do this all the way around. This is round number 3. So I've just completed the 3rd round and we're moving on to the 4th, and I am going to change the color one more time because it's fun. You know, I do these small little swatch samples and you think it probably doesn't matter for teaching, but for me it keeps me interested when I change color a lot. So I struggle as a personal preference to have a project that is all the same color, because I just find like the colors make it more interesting. So let's move on to round number 4 using the final color or same color depending on you, and let's begin. So back to the diagram we go. So we have our particular blanket that is all assembled. So the final border doesn't matter. So all we're just going to do is that we're just gonna slip stitch in each one of these stitches. When you slip stitch it, it forces the stitch to sit forward on the front side of the work. So that is just something that you have to keep in mind. You don't have to worry about putting extra stitches in for the corners. It's just one slip stitch in each, and let's begin. So starting in the first one, just if you want to join it, it's just a slip stitch. So when you pull it through, just pull through everything, and that's a slip stitch. And then just moving into the next one, and you're just gonna slip stitch. Now just make sure when you slip stitch that you're providing a little bit of extra to it. Slip stitching has a tendency to be kind of tight, so just make sure that you give it a bit of slack when you go to do this, and you'll notice that this particular line will sit forward. So the outside will look like this, and this is gonna be resting on top. It'll look like a surface overlay, to be honest with you. So that's something that you can decide to do with yourself. If you don't want to do slip stitching, you could just do single crochet in each of the stitches around as well, and that will force the stitch to sit outward, and that will still work as well. So you have to decide what you'd like to do, and I will see you at the end of this final round, number 4. When you come around finally on this slip stitch round, the final round, I want to show you something that will look a lot better. So what I would like to do, instead of slip stitching, because you'll always see it, just pull through this loop here, but you're not quite done. So I want you to slam this through a tapestry needle. When you do surface overlay or stuff like this, it matters. So what I want you to do is come into the very first one and come into this stitch itself and go across. Now this one is coming out of the middle of this section here. I want you to go back through the middle and down into the project, and then pull. Therefore that looks like it's actually a real stitch. And then on the back side here, just carefully, just staying within a few stitches, and don't you dare go through the good side of the project, because then you'll see it. So just going back and forth a total of 3 times into the fibers in the back. It will pop out if you just weave with your hook. Okay, so now you can safely cut that, and then you'll want to get rid of your starting tail just the same way. Just stay within the back side, and this will then conclude on how to do the border for this desert throw. So until next time, have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.